Hello there. We are going to discuss answer to the questions that are asked in GATE 2007 with respect to analog circuits. These are the questions. These are the questions that are asked in 2007 with respect to analog circuits. We will discuss solution detail one by one. First, let's go to question number 11. Here it is asked to identify the full wave rectifier among the four possible options. To find out the solution, we have to remember three things. First thing is, when the diode is forward biased, that is its anode is applied with some positive voltage and its cathode is applied with some negative voltage. That is, when it is forward biased, then it will be acting as a short circuit. It will allow the current to flow through it. And the next thing is the reverse bias condition, that when the anode is negative bias and when the cathode is positively biased, in that case it will be act as an open circuit. So simply it will be in off state. And the third thing is with respect to the bridge rectifier. With respect to the bridge rectifier, its two diagonal opposite diode will be in forward bias. Out of the four diodes, two diagonal opposite diodes will be in forward bias and other two diodes will be in reverse bias conditions. So these are the 3 points that we have to remember while solving the questions. Now we will see one by one. Coming to option A, for positive half cycle, this diode will be in reverse bias conditions, and this diode will be in forward bias conditions. So it will allow the current to pass through it. Now suppose a load resistance is connected across the output. Now if you see this diode will provide low conductance path rather than the output load. So the current will flow through this diode. As a result, there will be no current through the output. Hence, it cannot be a bridge rectifier. So option is not correct. Now coming to option B. During the positive half cycle, if you see, the positive terminal is applied to the cathode of this diode and this diode. So both these diode will be in reverse bias conditions. That means both the diode will be in off state. So this cannot be a full wave rectifier. Now if you come to option D, during positive half cycle, again if you see, both the diode will be in reverse bias conditions, so both will be off. So by option elimination you can find the option C, or else you can analyze it by having positive half cycle. If you see, one diode will be in off state and this diode will be in conduction. Now if you see here it will face two different paths. One is this one, another is this one. This one will be obviously reverse bias, so this will be reverse bias and the current will allow to flow through the load resistor, and it will flow through this path, this path. So again this will be in conduction, and the current will go like this and it will circulate. Similarly, you can analyze for the negative half cycle. So this is the case of the full wave rectifier. This is the perfect option. So C is the answer. Thank you. Next question is question number 12. In this, we have to find out what is the desirable with respect to transconductance amplifier. That is, we have to find out information about input resistance and its output resistance. Transconductance amplifier is nothing but a voltage to current amplifier. That is, input is voltage and the output is current. So transconductance gain is given by the output current divided by input voltage. Now if you see the transconductance amplifier circuit, it will have input resistance and there will be voltage dependent current source which will have output resistance R0. Now if we connect a voltage source at the input which will have finite input resistance, and then a load is connected across the output, then let's say I0 is the current that is flowing through RL. The overall transconductance is given by output current to the input voltage, that is Vs, that is I0 by Vs. Now it is desirable that G0 should be equal to G, that is I0 should be equal to GVS. For a good transconductance amplifier, it is desirable that the overall transconductance should be equal to the transconductance of the amplifier. Overall transconductance should be equal to the transconductance of the amplifier, that is I0 is equal to GVS. Now we will find out this I0 and we will find out this Vin. Now we will find out I0 expression in terms of Vs from this circuit. So I0 current we can find by current division rule, GVin into R0 by R0 plus RL. Similarly, at the input side we can find out the V input voltage in terms of Vs by applying voltage division rule. So Vs, so Vin equal to Vs into Rin by Rin plus Rs. Now we can substitute this Vin in I0 expression. So after substituting we can get this expression. Now if we compare this expression with this one, we want that this I0 should be nearly equal to GVS for a good transconductance amplifier. For this to happen, this ratio has to be 1 and this ratio has to be 1. For this to happen, this Rin has to be very greater than Rs and this R0 has to be very greater than RL. So if you can see this, so you can see for these to become 1 and these to become nearly 1, Rin has to be greater than the source resistance and the output resistance has to be very greater than the load resistance. That is, for a good transconductance amplifier, the input resistance should be high as well as the output resistance should be high. So if we see among the options, A should be the answer. That is, it should have a large input resistance and a large output resistance. Next question is question number 36. Here we have to find out the output voltage across this circuit. If you see in the circuit, one voltage is applied to both sides. So if we redraw the circuit, then it will be looking like this. Here 1 volt is separately applied to both sides and rest of the circuit remains same. So if we calculate the voltage at this point, that is V plus, that will be by applying voltage division across this 1K and this 1K, we will get V plus to be 0.5 volt. So V plus is 1 into 1 by 1 plus 1, that is 0.5 volt. By virtual ground concept, V minus will be equal to V plus. So V minus will be also 0.5 volt. Then if we apply KCL, then current across this 1K will be equal to the current across this 2K. So by applying KCL, we will get 1 minus V minus divided by 1K equal to V minus V0 divided by 2K. So this is the equation. By solving this, we will get the output voltage to be minus 0.5 volt. So from the option minus 0.5, C is the answer. Thank you. Next question is question number 37. Here we have to find out the region of operation of this BJT. In the question it is given that beta of the transistor is very large. That means IC current will be nearly equal to IE and IV will be nearly equal to 0 and VV is given 0.7 volt. Now we have to find out the mode of operation of this BJT. So IC equal to IE. If we apply KVL across this loop, then we will get 2 minus VVE minus IC RE equal to 0. Now by putting RE equal to 1K and this VVE 0.7 volt, we will get the IC to be 1.3 milliampere. So what we have? We have VV, that is base potential is 2 volt, VE is 1.3 volt. We have to find out what is VC. So VC will be equal to 10 minus IC into RC, that is 10K. So we will get VC is equal to V. So we will get VC equal to 10 minus IC RC. So by putting this value, we will get minus 3 volt. Then let's look at the BJT. Here at the base we have 2 volt and at the collector we have minus 3 volt and at the emitter we have 1.3 volt. So this junction is forward bias, this junction is forward bias. So as both the junctions are forward bias, so the transistor will be in saturation region. Once the transistor region will enter into saturation region, VC sat will be maintained at 0.2 volt. So VC will become VE plus VC sat 1.5 volt. So once the transistor will enter into saturation region, VC will saturate at 1.5 volt. So the transistor is in saturation region and B is the correct answer. Thank you. Next question is question number 38. In the op-amp circuit, two different input voltages are given and they have corresponding two different output voltages V01 and V02 respectively. We have to find out the relation between these two output voltages. So here V plus will be 0. By virtual ground concept, V minus will also be 0. Then by applying KCL, the current across these 2k ohm will be same as the current across the diode. So as I said, V minus will be equal to 0 by virtual ground concept. Then the current across the 2k resistor will be equal to the current across the diode. By solving this expression, and we will get the V output voltage to be VTLN 2IS by Vn. Next, there are two different cases and two different output. That is, for 2 volt input, the output voltage is V01, and for 4 volt input, the output voltage is V02. So if we substitute these two cases here in the V output expression, we will get V01 and V02 output voltages as V01 equal to VTLN IS and V02 will be equal to VTLN IS by 2. By seeing the option, if we subtract V01 minus V02, then we will get VTLN IS minus VTLN IS by 2, which will eventually give the result VTLN 2. So from the option D is the correct answer. Thank you. Next question is question number 39. Here a CMOS inverter is given and it is also given that Kn is equal to Kp and threshold voltage of both NMOS and PMOS are of equal magnitude, that is 1 volt. We have to find out the current I. So by naming the terminals, we can find out what is VGS of N. We can find out what is VGS of NMOS, that is VG minus VS 2.5 volt minus 0 volt 2.5 volt minus 0 volt, that is 2.5 volt. Similarly, we can find out what is the VSG of PMOS transistor. VSG of PMOS transistor will be 5 minus 2.5 volt, that is again 2.5 volt. So VSG of PMOS transistor will be 2.5 volt. So we can infer that the VSG of NMOS transistor is equal to VSG of PMOS transistor. And again, it is given that the threshold voltage are of equal magnitude and Kn and Kp are equal, that is 40 microampere per volt square. If you see the transfer characteristic of CMOS inverter, then it will be looking like this. Here, when the input voltage is up to VTH, then PMOS will be in linear region and NMOS will be in half step. Between VTH to VIL, that is threshold voltage to input voltage low, the PMOS will be in linear region and NMOS will be in saturation region. Between VIL to VIH, both the transistor will be in saturation region. Between VIH to this voltage, PMOS will be in saturation region and NMOS will be in linear region. And between VDD minus VT to VDD, PMOS will be in off state and NMOS will be in linear region. In this case, VGS, that is the input voltage, is 2.5 volt, which is exactly equal to VDD by 2. VDD by 2, that is 5 by 2 volt. So here both the transistors will be in saturation region. As both the transistors will be in saturation region, we can apply the saturation current equation, that is ID equal to Kn by 2 VGS of N minus VTH whole square, which is equal to Kp by 2 VSG of PMOS transistor minus VTH of P magnitude whole square. Kn is given 40, so 40 by 2 into VGS is 2.5 volt and VTH is 1 volt. 2.5 minus 1 volt is 1.5 square. By solving this, we will get 45 microampere. So the correct option is option C. Thank you. Next question is question number 40. In this question, it is given that the generator has a breakdown voltage, that is Vz equal to 7 volt, and its knee current is negligible, that is Izk is equal to 0, and the generator has a dynamic resistance, that is Rz equal to 10 ohm. In the question, it is given that if V input voltage is vary between 10 to 16 volt, then what is the range of the V output voltage? By taking these data, we can redraw the circuit, and the circuit can be look like this. That is the general diode can be replaced with a 7 volt battery and a 10 ohm resistance. Here there are two cases. When the input voltage is 10 volt, we can find out what is the output voltage. So if we apply the KVL, then the current flowing through the circuit will be equal to the total voltage across the loop divided by the resistance. Total voltage is nothing but 10 minus 7 divided by 200 plus 10. So that will come out 1 by 70 ampere. So the output voltage is equal to 7 volt plus 10 ohm into I, which implies the output voltage is 7.14 volt when the V input voltage is 10 volt. Next case, when the input voltage is at maximum range, that is V input voltage is 16 volt. In this case, the current will be 16 minus 7 divided by 200 plus 10, that is 210. So the current will be 3 by 70 ampere. Hence the output voltage will be 7 volt into 3 by 7. By solving this, we will get 7.43 volt. So the range of the output voltage can vary from 7.14 volt to 7.43 volt. Among the option C is the correct answer. Thank you. Next question is question number 42. This is about TTL NOT gate. We have to find out the region of operation of each transistor here. This question can be categorized in digital electronics or digital circuit as well. Let us assume that Q1 is in active region, that is normal active region. If Q1 is in normal active region and V input voltage is applied, that is 2.5 volt according to the question it is given, then for Q1 to be in active region, V1 should be at least greater than 2.7 volt. How? Because if Q1 is in active region, then Vc1 should be greater than 0.2 volt. 0.2 volt. In that case, V1 will become 2.5 volt plus 0.2 volt, that is 2.7 volt. But if V1 is 2.7 volt, then Q2 and Q3 both will be on, because the voltage required to switch on Q2 and Q3 is 0.7 plus 0.7, that is 1.4 volt. And once Q2 and Q3 both will be on, V1 will be fixed at 1.4 volt. So one is saying that V1 is greater than 2.7 volt and the other is saying that V1 is 1.4 volt. So both are contradicting. Hence Q1 cannot be in active region. Next, let us assume that the Q1 is in saturation region. In that case also, Vc1 saturation will be 0.2 volt. So V1 will become 2.7 volt. But V1 cannot be larger than 1.4 volt. Hence, again this one is contradicting. So Q1 cannot be in saturation region as well. So both C and D options are eliminated. Now Q1 is in reverse active region and V1 is 1.4 volt and V5 is 0.7 volt. So Q2 and Q3 both are on, and Q4 is in cutoff. From the option, if you see, Q3 is in saturation region, so V4 will become, that is Vc sat for Q3 is equal to 0.2 volt, so V4 will become 0.2 volt. And Q4 is in cutoff region. Here if you see, for Q4 to be on, the minimum voltage, that is V3 should achieve, is equal to 0.7 volt across this VV, then across the diode 0.7 volt, 0.7 plus 0.7, and V4 is 0.2 minus V5, that is 0.7, that is total is 0.9 volt. So minimum V3 required minimum V3 required to make the Q4 on is 0.9 volt. As Q4 is in cutoff, so V3 is less than 0.9 volt. Once V3 is less than 0.9 volt, V1 is already, we know that it is 1.4 volt. So this junction is also forward bias. This junction is already forward bias. If you see, both the junction of transistor Q2 are in forward bias condition. So Q2 is in saturation region. So Q2 will be in saturation region only. Hence, option B is the correct answer. For TTL NOT gate, we can remember this table as well. If we can remember this table, that is when V input is low, then Q1 will be in active region, and Q2, Q3 will be in cutoff region, Q4 will be in saturation region, and the output voltage is high. And when the input voltage is high, the output will be low. So the low voltage range is from 0 to 0.8 volt, and the high voltage range is from 2 to 5 volt. By seeing this table, we can easily choose option B is the correct answer. Thank you.